Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about, reviewing, and briefly discussing Catriona Gray, Miss Universe 2018's first week as Miss Universe, which was her media week. I'm going to share just a few highlights from some of the interviews. I'm not going to talk about every single interview, and then I'll share with you some of my favorite outfits that she wore because she looked trendy and fashionable the whole time. These are also probably not in the right order. I can't remember which interviews she did on day 1, day 2, etc. And then I will provide the links to the interviews below and you can check them out for yourself and see what you think. I'm sure you're gonna love them. She has done such an amazing job as a Miss Universe so far. She is so perfect for the Miss Universe brand and showcasing that Miss Universe and pageants are not just about being beautiful, it's not just about having a bikini body, they're about so much more. They provide a platform of opportunity. She really exemplified that in all of her interviews, and I'm sure we're going to continue to see that from her. I also really loved her fashion, as I mentioned, during her media week. So what I did is I found similar dresses, coats, and jackets to what she was wearing during her media week, and I provided the links to those below. And have some similar fashion and style to Catriona Gray, then check those out, they're in the description box. One of the most watched interviews, I'm sure, would have been her interview with Kelly and Ryan. What's it called? Oh, Live with Kelly and Ryan. For some reason, Kelly and Ryan just kind of like annoy me. I don't know what it is. So that's just a personal thing. Of course, she did an amazing job. I loved the yellow dress she was wearing for this interview. She also wore this dress for the Good Morning America interview. In her interview with Kelly and Ryan, she talked about how she was 5'8" when she was 12 years old, and then Ryan joked that he's 5'8" at 44, so I thought that was kind of funny. One of my favorite parts is when she talks about her gown and that it's inspired by the volcano from her hometown, and then a whole bunch of the people in the crowd are screaming and cheering because they know exactly what she's talking about, and it just shows the pride and the support of the Filipino people for pageants, for Catriona, for Miss Universe in general, and I think that's just so nice. It's so nice to see. It's obviously so nice for her, and it's just so cool to see that here in New York City there's a fan base who is supporting her and cheering for her and showing up at her interviews. She says that Filipino fans are the best fans in the world, and it's so true. And what I have loved about the Filipino fans of Miss Universe, any of the Filipinos that I've seen commenting on social media, is that overwhelmingly Filipinos are so positive, whether they support Miss Philippines or they support Miss Australia or Miss USA, Miss Venezuela, whoever it is. They seem overwhelmingly positive. Interview with the Good Day Show New York, that was on Fox 45 New York. She wore the blue outfit, which was beautiful. She always has kind of, I don't want to say natural makeup because I'm wearing makeup right now, so this is not like natural, but she doesn't look overdone, which is really nice to see. She talks so much about education and how education is the key in breaking the cycle of poverty, and that education is something that we can have and no one can take away from us. And that she works with, what's the organization? Young Focus Philippines, and they help provide access to education for people who don't otherwise have access to education. There are a lot of people around the world who don't have any access to education. They don't have access to elementary school, to high school. In places like Canada, we so often take for granted our education system and our access to education because so many people around the world do not have those same opportunities. So it's really amazing to see that she's such an advocate for education and for providing opportunity for young people, because that is where it starts. If young people can have those opportunities, then they're so much more likely to live a prosperous and fulfilling life. I think that's amazing that she stresses that in so many of her interviews. I also watched, this is a popular one, interview with Sway's Universe. She was wearing, I think her hair was in a bun, and she was wearing like a higher neck dress. She has just done such a good job, so well spoken. And my favorite interview that I saw was the AOL Build Series interview. She mentioned that the sash is not just lettering, but it's a country. You're wearing a country across your chest, and that is so true. And when I competed at Miss Universe, I actually made a post about wearing the sash and seeing the Canada sash for the first time, understanding what it represented and how much it meant, and walking across the Miss Universe stage wearing your country across your chest is so incredible, and it's so hard to describe because you're up there as yourself, but you're up there representing so much more than yourself. So I thought that was kind of cool that she touched on that. She talks about growing up in Australia and in the Philippines and how that made her more universal, and meeting so many different people and being exposed to so many different cultures and backgrounds and how important that was in helping her become who she is. She relates her kind of upbringing and where she's lived to Miss Universe, and the fact that Miss Universe brings together women from around the world. Just how that experience is so multicultural was kind of like her upbringing. She also, in this interview, talks a lot about the power of social media, and that social media is about so much more than sharing your favorite outfit or makeup, but it's also an opportunity to, it's a platform. It's essentially a platform to share causes that are important to you, to educate your audience on things that you're working on or things that you think are important or that deserve extra attention. I thought that was really cool that she talked about that in that kind of light, not just, oh, it's so cool that I have over 4 million followers. I also really love that she said that the negative view of pageants is really drawn from a surface perspective. I have said this in so many of my videos, and she said it in this interview, that people don't see what goes on behind the scenes. People don't see the passion that the women have for the causes that are important to them, or the reason that they're there, the platforms that they have to be there at Miss Universe or whatever pageant it is, and that when people are judgmental about it and say they don't deserve a place in society today, that pageants don't deserve a place in society, they're only seeing that from the surface level, from what we see on TV. They're not seeing all of the behind the scenes work. They're not seeing the girls for who they are and for what they are coming into the competition for, and that these women are so multifaceted that there's just so much more than the surface, and that essentially judging the pageant on the surface level is like judging the women on a surface level, and there's so much more to it than that. She then talks about mental fortitude, and that mental fortitude is necessary for success. To handle social media and the negative impacts of social media, she talks about having mental fortitude, and I think this is so amazing because I can't even tell you the last time I heard someone say mental fortitude, but she is teaching people stuff all the time. That is it for the interviews that I'm going to touch on. There's so much more. You guys can find them by YouTubing them. The reason I didn't include a lot more is just because she talks, people ask her very similar questions, like what it was like to win Miss Universe, the fact that her mom predicted that she was going to win Miss Universe and had a dream when she was 13, when Catriona was 13, that Catriona was going to win Miss Universe in a red dress. So she talks a lot about some of the similar storylines, which I know a lot of you already know, so I just didn't want to go on and on about that. Some of my favorite looks that she wore, because this is just a fun part, the yellow dress that she wore for Good Morning America and Live with Kelly and Ryan. Also really love, this is probably my favorite one, the orange dress that she wore. It's kind of like an orangey red in some pictures, but mostly looks orange. She wore it for the Celebrity Page interview and probably some other ones, but that's the interview I saw where she was wearing that dress. Also, because she's in New York City, she has to wear coats or warm coats, and a couple that I really liked, a camel colored one, like a camel nude color, and she wore it in front of the love sign. I think she wore it in front of the love sign. She also had a really great reddish orangey coat as well that I really loved. I love nice coats, and I'm limited to literally like one coat right now. It's winter here in Canada, but only one coat, like night dressy coat, not like parka, but like a dressy coat right now. I only have one that's like fitting me, because if you guys see my other videos, you know that I'm in my 9th month of pregnancy. I'm 37 weeks pregnant, so I'm technically full term, which is so crazy, but there's only one nice coat that fits me. So when I see nice coats on other people, I'm like Anyway, that's it for the Catriona Gray Miss Universe Media Tour highlights review, if you will. Find those interviews that I talked about in the description box below, along with some similar outfits to Catriona's. As always, let me know what you guys want to see more of from me, and if you want to see more from me, please subscribe, and I will see you next time.